Hello and welcome to Task Force Admiral's demo that's out now on Steam. We're gonna be doing a tour of the game after myself having played some like 20 so hours in this aircraft carrier simulator from World War II. On the demo that's out now, you can go on single scenario. There's only one level available right now, which is part of the Battle of the Coral Sea. So let's go on with the briefing.
It's early morning on May 8th, 1942. Task Force 17, under the command of Vice Admiral Fletcher, has been roaming the Coral Sea for 7 days in an attempt to prevent a Japanese invasion of Port Moresby. The carriers USS Yorktown and USS Lexington were quite active and successful the day before. The American air groups managed to sink a light Japanese carrier with minimal losses, forcing the invasion force to loiter in fear of facing overwhelming odds on its way around the New Guinean Peninsula. In the meantime, the American carriers were left untouched. Japanese search efforts were rendered fruitless due to a number of mistakes and communication hurdles. Despite being spotted, Task Force 17 managed to escape the attention of enemy air power, as bombers from Rabaul focused fruitlessly on the Anzac Surface Combat Squadron, led by Admiral Crace, standing guard on the road to Port Moresby. As for the main Japanese carrier force, they attacked in droves the oiler USS Neosho and her escort USS Sims, mistakenly identifying them as a carrier force. Realizing their blunder, the Japanese aircraft launched a late afternoon search and destroy attack against the American carriers. Lost in bad weather, they were intercepted by American fighter cover and suffered crippling losses. Plus, to add insult to injury, they came across their target in darkness on their way home and even tried to land, mistaking the American carriers for their own. But the Americans know that it was far too much luck for one day. Admirals Takagi and Hara are going to be doing everything they can to wash away the humiliation suffered the previous day and show the combined fleet that Carrier Division 5 crews are not to be trifled with. Now, Admiral Fletcher has elected not to send a surface fleet ahead so as not to weaken his protection screen and leave these ships vulnerable at daybreak, a move he will be heavily criticized for in the coming weeks. It's now up to you to decide what to do next. The position of the enemy carriers is estimated to be within combat range northeast of Task Force 17's current position, but no one can predict with any accuracy the moves of the enemy. Enemy opposition is deemed challenging. The Japanese air group's been badly hurt by their ill-advised evening attack hours ago, but they are still going to be packing a punch. Expect to be going toe-to-toe with about 60 to 70 enemy Zero fighters, dive bombers, and torpedo bomber crewed by professionals, some of them veterans of many campaigns. As for the Americans, your own air groups are in good shape, but are still suffering from a low number of available fighters, which will force you to make some tough calls. Should you escort your bombers as a priority, or protect your carriers? It's your job to figure out how to best prepare for the first real carrier-to-carrier engagement of the war. Your objective is to seek out the enemy carrier force, engage it, and inflict heavy damage to force the Japanese Navy to abandon its move against Port Moresby. You're retired to the south at the end of your operation. Good luck.
May the 8th, 1942 at midnight. We're in our operations room. We're gonna go first in the top left menu. We're gonna go to the strategic view. Here we get on the order of battle, we see our ships. We have the Yorktown and the Lexington aircraft carriers, some destroyers and some cruisers. I've played this demo quite a bit of times, so I kind of know what works better as a strategy that can help us evade the Japanese search patrols. And I'm going to be repeating that in this video. So before I get going, we're going to get on the map options. We're going to show all the options. Contact history, show the wind, which is important to know the wind direction for launching aircraft. Show the weather. You can see like some clouds forming, but they're not really major in this battle, at least in this level. I'm going to show the radar range, the AA range, and the main battery range. Not that we want to use the main battery of our destroyers in our cruisers, we want to avoid. I just want to stay pure aircraft carrier to aircraft carrier. So I found that it's better if we, instead of moving south with our fleet, we change our direction and go to southeast. Helps avoid the Japanese air search. We're gonna select the maximum speed of 31. Don't put a higher number because that breaks the demo. I've seen my fleets like scattering in different directions if you put a higher number. So don't do it. And we're gonna see that we are forecasted to be at the position at midnight 50. But we're gonna change that. We're just gonna drag it to the southeast of the estimated Japanese force from the reports we had the previous day. And basically what I'm trying to do is to line up the wind with the Japanese force. The reason for that is that I can keep my aircraft carriers pointed into the wind like for forever, and that just allows me to do continuous launches of aircraft. That is the goal. Just makes it also a little easier, and I'm gonna show why. So we are able to launch aircraft at 6 in the morning. So I'm gonna put a position at maximum speed, line up with the wind of the Japanese for 5:57 in the morning, and create a new waypoint. I'm gonna change speeds here to 5 knots. Now, when you're launching a carrier, the aircraft from the carrier, your carrier automatically speeds up. But I want to keep the fleet going the same direction into the wind. It's important that you set your set these waypoints from your carrier task force before you launch your aircraft, because your aircraft have a return point, which is based on your fleet's directions and orders and speed, and you don't want that to be too different, because then your aircraft could show up in a place where the carrier fleet is not there, and then the guys are like scrambling to find a place to land, which there aren't many in the Pacific. Anyway, with that said, that's our first step. Here, we're at 3 minutes after midnight. We're gonna come here at the bottom. You can see this timeline. You can change the scale, 4 hours, 24 hours. And that's the timeline for the deck, takeoffs and landings. In this case, we have the Yorktown selected. So, there's not much we can do here in the beginning. We're gonna speed up to about 6 in the morning. I find that my machine, my computer, runs a simulation constant at 120 times. And then as the game progresses, it kind of slows. Which gives us time to talk a little bit more about the game. We have the strategic view. We have a 3D view. Now right now it's just showing the sea because you have to select the ship. See the Yorktown there sailing at full speed in the middle of darkness. And you can follow this for all the other ships, destroyers. So that's a 3D view. We also have the fleet board where we can change the fleet formation. And again, reminder, it's a demo, it doesn't have all the features, but it can change the layout on how your destroyers and carriers and cruisers, they all are lined up. Yeah, whatever is the main ship on your fleet. But in the demo, you can't change the presets. And also, this game comes with about like a 40-page manual for the demo. A lot of good information, both of the game and how to play it, and also some historical context. And in the demo, there's no submarines, but I think in the game, you have submarines. So that just might be a consideration. Right now, in this battle, I have no problem splitting my force. And I'll show you why later on. But in real life, you might want to keep your destroyers close into your carrier so submarines don't slip in. Anyway, we got the fleet information. You can check different ships, see their vitals, because they will, of course, can get damaged by combat, by enemy bombing. Also surface battle, but I'm trying to avoid that, keep the distance between the two fleets and just go carrier aircraft to the other one. I have the formation editor, which I mentioned it can't do anything. Defensive air operations that allows you to create the combat air patrols. I'm just gonna, can't do it at night, but You can have this square, or you can change the dimensions, sizes, the directions, and you can put them relative to your aircraft carrier fleet. You can put to the north, you can put to the west, and you can make whatever shape you want, and essentially your aircraft will be patrolling there forever. Now in this case we have 3 aircraft selected, which means there's a total of 6, because the first 3 go, they do their patrol for 1 hour and 34 minutes, they come back, land, and there's another aircraft already taking off to assume that combat air patrol. So it's a constant air coverage, which takes double of the number of aircraft assigned, right? Because you need the reserve to be on the carrier. Anyway, we won't be doing that today, but you can do it. I do it more if you're suspecting Japanese search aircraft or an incoming enemy attack. And also with the fighter detection, you can also automate it, so your FDO will assign aircraft to intercept and give headings and vectors and all that kind of stuff. Now, I'm going to pause here because it's 5:48 in the morning. We can start assigning orders. So we're going to go to strategic view. Our fleet is here almost in position. We're going to go to search, because we want to search for the Japanese fleet. I'm going to create a new search. You're able to select which aircraft carrier and which type of aircraft you're going to use. I'm going to be using the Dauntless, steady airplane. We don't have that many fighters, so I would like to keep the fighters on reserve. There we go. We're going to select, let's say, 6 aircraft. Patrol altitude of 13,000 feet. I find that works nice. I'm going to change our angle right here, so it catches the whatever the estimated Japanese position was at 9 p.m. the day before. We're going to cast this angle right there. You can also change the distance between each plane to make it like a wider search pattern, but also reduce the probability of seeing the target, because there's more of a distance between each traffic pattern, of course. And essentially what the planes do is they go on a line and they do a 90-degree and they come back on the other line. And it's important for you to know that, because the planes have to come back, and it's, as I mentioned, on the orders that your carrier fleet has, so they don't show up at a different position where your carrier fleet is. So I'm just going to do a step of 50 here in a search radius of 600 kilometers. This is important because it gives our planes a lot of time to go to the end of the search pattern and come back. And it's important for this strategy on this mission. Shows the desired takeoff time. The earliest we can have is 6 in the morning. If you put a lot of airplanes, they might need time to prepare, so we could push that back. But we want 6 in the morning. That's the start of the battle, that we can launch airplanes. That is the ideal. So right now, that is search number 1 is in the queue for the Yorktown carrier. You have to close this tab and then close the clipboard to access the other menus. There's a little order on how you have to do these things in the game. Otherwise, it's a little finicky. Same as the waypoints, you can't alter the next waypoint or another one. Only the last one. If you want to order, you gotta delete it and change the other ones. Hopefully they'll change that when the full game gets released. You can go on our order of battle. You can select air. You can go to search, which is assigned. That's our search pattern. You can see the plane's gonna go there, do 90 degree, come back, and you'll see the takeoff point, the estimated takeoff point, and the estimated landing point. Your carrier is going east at full speed, and your planes will go further east to match that. But if in the middle of battle you change directions, especially with the wind direction to send airplanes, your aircraft carriers won't be there for when the planes come back, and then the guys are like, oh, where do I land now? Problems. You can mitigate that by having another ship from your formation be at the destined waypoint, because they have radars and they can vector your planes back to the carrier. So think about it. It's a good idea. Anyway, We're gonna go to our carrier, which is the Yorkton. We can see planes on deck, the planes on the hangar. We'll go to missions. Search num 1 is preparing. 6 aircraft. And ready at 6:01 in the morning. Same for takeoff. And return, the estimated 9:39. Time on target is the time when they get to the end of the search pattern, they start coming back. Alright, so we're almost there. We're gonna go for Task Force 17, Yorkton. And we're gonna let the clock roll. And we should, yeah, there you go, there's sunrise coming up. And on the 3D view, you can also see, the airplane information right here. Very important thing with all the searches and strikes that we'll be doing shortly. You can still edit the orders while the planes are on the carrier. You see now the ground crew is moving the airplanes to get it ready for takeoff. But once they're in the air, there's no going back. There's no changing order. So be very careful on how you do it. You don't want to be caught with your pants down because you lost or you sent all your planes. There's the takeoff. You can see on the board here that the planes are taking off. And they're scheduled to be back here on the Yorkton at around 9:40. There you go, 9:39, 57 seconds. Once the airplanes are launched, the carrier fleet resumes its navigation orders, which is following the, I see they're coming back. And then you see our airplanes, our search aircraft, fanning out in that search pattern to look for the Japanese fleet. As they get outside of the radar range, which is the largest circle here, the green circle, we won't have them anymore on our map. And they're kind of on their own, but if you go on order of battle air and you click at the formation, the order, you can see the estimated position of each airplane based on this little circle. That's just, the direction that they're supposed to take and the time. That's all it is. If one of these planes were shot down by, say, Japanese air patrols, we wouldn't know until either they report to us via radio or they just don't come back. There's no instant visuals on this map. However, because this is a game, we can do some funny things. We can open up the search here. We can look at each individual airplane. So each of these groups is just one pilot because they're going by themselves. And we can click on them. We can go into 3D view and we can kind of follow them and what they're doing. Cool, right? So that is the start of the day. And now we're just waiting for one of these search aircraft to position to spot the Japanese fleet, and we will launch a massive attack on them. Hopefully get them by surprise and avenge Pearl Harbor. Hang on, it's 6:44 in the morning. Looks like we got some signals from our scouts. Let's go back to strategic view. There it is. It shows first as an unidentified contact. Okay, now it's an enemy contact. And let's see the composition. 2 carriers, 2 destroyers, 2 small, which are probably destroyers, and 2 large, which are cruisers. And now it's showtime. We're gonna pause here, and we're gonna go and issue a large aerial bombing of the Japanese fleet. We're gonna send almost everybody. So let me close this up. We're gonna go on strike. As far as this demo goes, there's only one type of mission, which is the naval strike, but as the game gets released, there'll be different types of air missions. We have the Yorktown selected. We're gonna send every single dive bomber and torpedo bomber that we have. Notice that as I add more aircraft, it increases the best possible day because you need more aircraft to prepare, to arm, to put fuel and everything. And we're gonna commit some escorts because the Japanese, by this time that they might have seen our scout airplane, they might launch a combat air patrol. We're gonna send some escorts, spiders, which we don't have that many. So think about it. I want to keep someone reserved in case the Japanese launch a counterattack. Now, when you put target ID, you put over a target, it assumes like they're gonna keep the same distance, the same speed and direction. I kind of don't like that assumption because they might change their direction. So I'm gonna go. Let's see here. You're doing 13 knots, heading of almost south, a little bit of southwest. So probably here. I think that's kind of. I'm just gonna pick a waypoint right over here, because our fighters, they should go above the enemy and they should see the enemy and then they should dive into it. And so you can always put like a waypoint that's after where the enemy is, and it usually does it pretty good. On our settings, we have the best possible date of 7:15 in the morning. That's the takeoff time. Spotting mode, we'll do standard. Departure mode, normal. They just keeps all the planes going instead of like stacking them up and waiting for the everyone to take off and then move as a formation. I find that usually they end up catching with each other in the air on the cruise there. In offensive power, this is important because we really are bringing the heavy bombs and everything, but the other option is the endurance. So the planes are lightly armed, they have a lot longer range, so it could play in your strategy, but I want to sink those carriers. I'm gonna go offensive power. And you have, after you have selected all that, you have to open this tab here. It shows a lot of stats on when they're gonna be armed, when they're gonna be takeoff, when they're gonna be on target, when they're coming, your reserve, all that good stuff. And you have to hit the green light. That's to start the mission. Alright, planes are assigned. So that's the nav strike number 2. Gotta close this. Gotta close this. And you can see, if you go to Yorktown, missions, all these like blue planes are under prep because we have assigned them a mission. And the ones in white are just the Wildcats. I want to keep a reserve of fighters. You can see on missions. We set for 41 aircraft on this mission. Takeoff of 7:15, come back 9:25. A little bit earlier than our surge. We're gonna close that, and we're gonna also issue orders for the Lexington. And in this demo, there's a really big problem of being able to switch from one aircraft carrier to the other, where you have these text boxes open and it just doesn't want to switch. Like, doesn't matter how long you click it. There you go, it did now. It takes a lot of effort. With the Lexington, we're gonna send quite a bit of guys, but not everybody. I want to keep a reserve force of bombers for like a second wave. You're gonna see how it plays in my strategy, because I'm gonna send one large wave, a small one later. Keeps the Japanese busy. But we won't commit everybody. There you go. And we'll send some escorts as well. Back in the days, they're still flying like the Vic formation, so like groups of 3 airplanes. So I put all in multiples of 3. That is why. I'm gonna pick a target. These Japanese forces are moving southwest. We're gonna pick like here. Should cross over them, and you see now the best possible date is 7:07. So that's about 10 minutes before the Yorktown launches its fighters. So I'm just gonna push it back by 10 minutes for 7:17. Everyone's launching fighters at the same time. They should arrive there at the same time, and we're gonna have a good attack. Dinner time, no departure, offensive power. We go to green light. Close this, and close it. And now we can follow the actions on the deck. We're gonna go back to fleets. We're gonna watch the Lexington, and we're gonna start the timer. Do it 10 times. There's many positions or camera angles you can look at your aircraft carriers. I find it a fascinating thing, just like carrier warfare in general, but like how they organize everything in such a confined way. You have to move planes to the front. They move planes at the back and bring them up from the elevators. There you go. Many different cameras. Side camera. Other side camera. And I'm just gonna go back to the 3D. There you go. Again, we can kind of free roam. You see on the scale here, that's the takeoff time. The estimated takeoff time is 7:15 for the Yorkton. Because they gotta prep those planes, and they're probably working on the planes downstairs with the faster. There you go. There you go. Now they're using the elevators, bring the planes from downstairs. And now the Task Force 17 is heading to win, start the launches. There it is. There's Yorktown. Sorry, that's Lexington. It's ready. Yorktown's almost ready. Moving some airplanes still. Time. You kind of see how they launched. They went into the air, and then they moved north, and now the waypoint is south. So they have to come back to its original path. And then you see all our waves of aircraft, dive bombers, torpedoes, and escorts, all in order. The torpedo bombers for the States in this game, and also real life, in the early World War II in the Pacific, they were horrible. Like their torpedoes were so unreliable, like they would hit the Japanese ships and wouldn't detonate. Like they're horrible. The Japanese, on the other hand, they had pretty good torpedoes. As our strike aircraft move towards the Japanese, we're gonna kind of start losing their position from our map. And we don't actually know if we're gonna catch the Japanese by surprise or not. They might have spotted our scout airplane. They might be ready. They might have a combat air patrol. But I find it with this strategy coming from this direction, they really don't. They have an updated position on the enemy fleet. Because they were moving southeast, that's correct. And while we can't change any orders or influence the combat in this game, we can definitely follow them. So I'm gonna unselect the search one. We're gonna go for strike number 2 and strike number 3. We're gonna open them up. Dive bombers. We're gonna go on both. And torpedo bombers there as well. And we can watch the in 3D. There it is, our mighty formation of dozens of airplanes. Right now you get to see the first little glimpses of the Japanese fleet right here at the front. We're following naval strike number 2. Look, there's one plane falling from the sky. Big group. We have our torpedo bombers right now with the dive bombers up ahead. And if you look at the horizon in the distance right there, we have naval strike number 3. A little bit more to the northeast of the position. But hopefully they'll join the fight. We'll see the action with the flags, and that'll call their attention to get the Japanese fleet that's like right ahead of us. Let's speed up the time now. As we get closer to the target, you seem to see that the information chain here on the order of battle, that our units are en route to the IP, the initial point for the attack. And I see that on naval strike number 3, they also changed over to the IP, so the airplanes should move a little bit closer to the southeast of the position to engage the Japanese. It's kind of easy to see when you have flag going on, right? Our torpedo bombers start their attack run. There's no influencing on how they're gonna do in combat. Now it's just a matter of watching. There they go. They're going for the carrier. Sun already dropped their torpedoes, and hopefully they'll hit and it'll detonate. Just because you get a hit, that doesn't mean anything, because the torpedoes the Americans have in the war, at this stage, they are trash. Yeah, now just spray and pray. There's the other carrier right there. Good. You want to sink the carriers, the destroyers and the cruisers, they mean nothing. As our torpedo guides are retreating, we have our dive bombers coming in. There you go. That's probably a cruiser. Don't go for the cruiser, buddy. Go for the carrier. There's no carrier right there. Alright, we got some guys diving on target. Oh, I guess I went too fast. He's damaged, but the aircraft carrier is damaged. The Japanese aircraft carrier is in damage. Let's switch to some other guys and go for the bombing rod. Oh, looks like they got a hold of the fire on the carrier. Only one. Where's the other one? Where's the other carrier? I highly recommend that you take a look at your own strikes, not because it's cool and also shows like the huge amount of bombs that miss the target, but you also get like you can do your own assessment of the damage. There you go, major hit. Another hit on the elevator. Very good, very good. Major hit, I think that's on the tower. And sometimes with the bombs that go on the water, sure, they might not give the most damage, but they might hit a critical component of the carrier, especially in the rear, because it can hit the rudder, and the aircraft can't maneuver. That's a really good thing, because then it's an easy target. Okay, right on. We have this carrier on with 3 groups of fires, and the other carrier with 1 that I can see from now. So both are damaged. We don't know how much. But it also looks like the Japanese weren't able to... oh, there's some more bombs falling out there. Nice. But it looks like the Japanese weren't able to send their combat air patrols because we caught them by surprise. Now that the aircraft carriers are damaged, we don't know if they can do that. Because, you know, they're dealing with the fires. Their elevators might not be working. They might not be able to get the carrier into position, into the wind to launch the aircraft. So now we don't even know if the Japanese can defend themselves, which is nice because we can launch a secondary attack. Now remember why I left that little force of airplanes left on the Lexington? That's why. So our guys are coming back. Nice. And this, we'll search 1. Their landing area is close to where the carrier is. Search 2. Yeah, that's exactly where the carrier is. Search 3. Sorry, Naval Strike 3 is right there. Excellent. So all the planes will come back to where the carrier is. Good, because they need a place to land, rearm, and do it again. Well, even before I started my other attack, we got this message. Admiral, our first team to have disengaged with the enemy. Do you wish to stay in the flag plot, or shall we head for a debriefing or combat assessment? The Japanese forces are retreating. We kind of won. But remember Pearl Harbor. Never forget. We're going to keep on going. Alright, now it's time to launch the next strike. So we're going to launch all the remaining dive bombers and torpedo bombers that Lexington has, with just a small number of fighters to escort. I'm not really concerned about the Japanese fighting back or launching fighters. So their task force now, they are heading north at a speed of 23 knots. I'm gonna say that's pretty accurate. We're gonna send our guys, best possible 8:33. Let's do it. It's not even 8:30 in the morning, and we damaged 2 Japanese carriers. Pretty good start of the day. Now, one nice thing about that first search group of airplanes, now they're on their way back to the carrier, so we should get an updated position of the Japanese fleet on their return trip. You can see now that's their estimated position and should be almost right now going by the Japanese fleet. So I get an updated position while the third and the small strike force gets there. And as all this action is going on, we can come back to our carriers and watch our planes land from the big strike force. There you go, that's the updated Japanese position. You should be able to see our friendly planes kind of circling around and getting in position to the pattern to come back. There's the first one. It's actually an amazing thing on how they're all like super efficient and carriers and can't miss your landing spot. And there you go, they go down on the hangar. Get all ready to go. Alright, we're gonna follow up with the naval strike number 4. See how they're doing. We got an updated position on the Japanese fleet from our scouts on their way in. Looks like it's quite a bit north of where our strike is. Hopefully they'll get the message on the radio and follow them up. And it looks like the Japanese force has, let's see, 3 minutes ago, 6 minutes ago, might kind of have split into 2. 1 carrier each. Alright, our aircraft are searching for the target. So I might not have predicted a good position for them to go on their strike, and the Japanese force is still a little more to the north. So they might just kind of be looking in vain and not finding. But that's okay, because we got the planes that are landing right now. We're going to get them ready, and they're going to go for another launch. I see something here, but I don't know if... Oh, there you go. They see it. Oh, there you go. Very good. En route to the initial point. Torpedo bombers are going ahead. Let's follow. There's only 3 of them. Hey, that's an enemy carrier. He might have gotten damaged with its propulsion or the steering. Probably the propulsion. And is lagging behind the rest of the fleet. There's another escort there. Fleet. Hopefully an easy prey. Let's see how the torpedo guys do it. I think our torpedo bombers and our dive bombers are engaging different targets. Let's see how they do it. Well, that's pretty far. Very disappointing. No hits yet. Still got some guys diving. Well, that's it. That's all. Because you can go back to your own planes and you can see that none of them have bombs anymore. Yeah, that was a big fail. But that's okay because we got a lot more airplanes at our carriers, and it's time for another huge wave of them. Now we're sending everybody we have on our carrier to do a final, hopefully final blow to the Japanese fleet. And we're gonna extend our waypoint target here so they go a little bit further. Thing like that. It's on the Yorkton. And the Lexington. The Lexington still landing. We're gonna have to wait for the Lexington to be finished and get the airplanes ready to go. Now here's a mistake I made. So on the naval strike number 4, our small wave, look at how the return waypoint is so far from the carriers because we've been sailing into wind. It's kind of a problem because the planes will go there, that won't be a carrier for them to land, and then we can start panicking. Because where do we go now? So what we can do, we can go on a task force 17. I'm going to split the task force. We're going to get a destroyer. And this destroyer will be part of a new task force, which I'm just going to call new task force. And we're gonna send that destroyer, because it's our fastest ship, to that waypoint. Hopefully he'll get there soon, because we want it to get into radar range and then relay the position to the fleet or our aircraft so they can be vectored in and make their way back to the carriers. Don't ditch in the middle of the Pacific. Not be ideal. The destroyer is sent. That's something I should have done earlier. Seems like some planes are still already being vectored back, so hopefully they will let the other guys know by radio. And yeah, so our aircraft, some of them have been able to see the destroyer, and they're vectoring now into the carrier to go to land. It does help. Sometimes they go like search patterns, they expand from where the landing waypoint was supposed to be. They try to find the carrier. If they run out of fuel, well, you lose them, right? So that's not a winning strategy. Right now I've canceled the other airstrikes that I have set up, letting all the planes land. We'll get them rearmed and refueled and get them ready to go. While this happens, the Japanese force is retreating to the north. Let's see if we can send a small search and hopefully get to find an updated position of the Japanese forces before our second main strike. We're going to use the Yorkton, because the Lexington right here is in air operations. Yorkton should be done. It's not. So we'll launch the search planes from the Yorkton again. And it just keeps one aircraft carrier launching planes and the other one taking off. I'm going to reduce the range, because our scouts, they don't have to go. The Japanese fleet is retreating to the north. Yeah, 5 planes. Here we go. Accept. And on our fleet, destroyer that I had, USS Russell, was going back. I think he got already the planes back vectored in. I'm just gonna add a waypoint. It can rejoin the start making its way. So yeah, very important. If your carriers end up moving astray from the landing point, like the meetup point from your outgoing planes, just send a destroyer or a cruiser. A destroyer will be better because it's faster. And once it's in radar range, you'll vector the fighters back to the airplanes back to the carrier and have them land so you don't lose. Alright, we're going to speed up the time. See where the Japanese fleet is. There you go, that's an updated position. Two positions. There you go, one carrier, another carrier. Okay, we got an up position. We're gonna go for our next big wave of naval strike. We're sending everybody. At this point, I am not concerned about the Japanese launching a strike back to us. First, they would have to find our fleet, which they haven't sent scouts that I know of. And even if they did, the scouts would probably be detected. Gonna launch this one, and then we're gonna switch to the Lexington. Sorry, the Lexington from another one. There goes our second strike from the Lexington. Now, as I was saying, I'm not really concerned about the Japanese sending scout planes to find our fleet, because I'm not even sure if they have the capability of launching airplanes from the carriers, because they might have just been damaged too much. And they're also on the retreat, so we'll see. That I'm not too concerned about launching, say, escort fighters. If we look at the formation, it looks like there's one aircraft carrier just like staying behind the fleet. That's probably damaged propulsion, and won't make it. Alright, onward to the IP. That's where the fun begins. There's our flag. Oh, that was too fast, buddy. Oh, it looks like we've got a one hit. Oh, looks like hits from the torpedoes. That's good. Explosions. Without propulsion, that badly damaged, that carrier is lost, man. There's no way to do it. There you go, that's sinking. That's under the... That's under... Avenge for Pearl Harbor, never forget. Now let's go with the next formation. Here we go! Attack on the Japanese main forces. A little bit slower. We're gonna catch the attack from this time. Torpedoes away. Let's see what happens. Come on, guys, hit at least something. Yeah, no apparent damage. You have some more airplanes with ammunition. There's always a chance for redemption, right? This might be a hit. This might be a hit. Very good. I'm looking. I'm liking this. Oh, so close. There you go. Hit is a hit. See where our search guys are. Coming back. We got two destroyers that went ahead. We don't need them. We don't want destroyers. We want carriers. One was sunk right here. The other one is still going, still being escorted. And I think I still got planes for another strike. Go to the Lexington. Oh, it doesn't have anything left. I thought I had some from the previous, like the small wave that just lands on it. Apparently not. Alright, we're gonna wait for our guys to come back and then see if we can launch another strike today. All our aircraft have returned to the carrier. Now it's 2:36 in the afternoon. We don't have that much sunlight left for operations. So I think I'll do a search. Let's see if we got the time. I'm gonna do it this time out of Lexington. And I'm gonna send a couple more airplanes. Let's see. As you can see on the deck time, their recovery is estimated to be at 6:15 at night. That's not ideal. I don't want the guys to be landing at night. So I'm gonna shorten their strike, not strike, search distance, where they can land at a reasonable time and hopefully get Japanese. So we're doing 442 kilometers, just kind of straight north of their last position. Hopefully we'll see where the Japanese are, and we'll also do a strike formed after these guys leave. And we're gonna try to get that one last Japanese carrier. They might have smartened up. Let's see. Maybe just put some combat air patrols now. And do one strike here. I'm just kind of going out of the random gases. Because I don't want to be waiting too long for these strikes to come back, because it's going to be nighttime. I'm going to change to Yorktown. If they don't find the enemy, that's okay. They can come back, you know, it's no deal. But if they do find them and they can bomb them and hit them, that would be enough. Sending all of our attackers and just a handful of escort fighters. Target here. Yeah, and they should come back like in the evening before that. All right, let's Fast forward and see what happens. By the way, I haven't mentioned, but if you go on the carry, go on missions, you can click on each specific mission. You can go to port and go for you can also go to the mission log. You're gonna see how many were sent, how many came back okay, or damaged, or killed in action, or missing. This one is a sorority. And you can also look at reports for there you go, enemy naval activity, losses and hits and everything. That's what you would get, right, as a task force admiral. There you go, we'll find a Japanese. Let's try. Gonna be in that general direction if I go right. Did I not hit the green light? I did hit right. Guys are launching, right? Oh, green light. No, my god, I can't believe I forgot to hit green light. That's horrible. Bad commander. I was wondering, like, why I haven't launched the guys yet. Yeah, I didn't hit green light on either operation. So now the scheduled return time for the attacker planes is gonna be at nighttime. And I'm not sure in real life, in World War II, if night landings were a thing. But it'll have to be now. I wouldn't do this in real life. That's like at that time. That sounds sketchy as heck. Also, the other thing in this demo is that the sea is pretty calm. I'm not sure in the full game or in different levels it will have a difference on the sea, making like a rougher seas, or which would stop operations, I would hope. Turn point's a little different, so I'm gonna send our task. Destroy USS Russell to kind of just be hanging around, provide a vectoring position. There it is. That's the main formation with 2 larger ships. That should have the remaining carrier there. This is one thing I haven't done in a demo yet, is to have my friendly planes land at night. So I'm actually finding out just as much as you are. The bombs. No hits yet. Second wave of attacks coming in. You see the damage there on the left side of the ship. There you go. Beautiful. And let's see if the guys can land at night. Those should be our search guys. Left earlier. And it's nighttime. I believe on the full game it also will come with random events. So I don't know, maybe one plane crashes on landing on a carrier, which delays everybody getting set up and ready. So just be mindful of that. Not everything will go exactly as planned perfectly. Just in time. There's still a little bit of light outside of sunlight. Thank you guys for watching. I'm gonna finish the match here to get our score. Return to menu. We're gonna get our debriefing screen. We have a strategic victory because we stopped the Japanese attack on Port Moresby, but also tactical victory by sinking one of their carriers and damaging another one. We're gonna go to the full report. There you go. Shokaku sunk, very good, and Zuikaku damaged. And the Japanese lost a lot of airplanes. I don't think they were able to even launch one. I think they were all destroyed on the hangars, on deck. And we lost 7 airplanes. So 6 Dauntless and 1 Devastator. They were all from the Yorkton. So I know what, that's a pretty good deal for a victory here. Hope you guys have enjoyed, and definitely check out the game. The demo's out on Steam, and hope you have enjoyed. See you guys next time.